Dear students, in this lecture, we are going to cover the unfortunate incident of Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the Rowlatt and the associated Rowlatt Satyagraha. So you must be aware of this unfortunate incident in which almost 500 Indians were officially deemed to be declared to be killed by gunshots by British police. So now let us see how did these events unfold, what were the circumstances of those days. So let's understand. So just 6 months before the Montague-Chelmsford reforms were to be put into effect. So these reforms were finally put into effect in 1919. So two bills were introduced in the Imperial Legislative Council. So Montague-Chelmsford reforms, so they were announced in 1917 itself. So what were these reforms? We have already covered that. So these reforms basically promised Indians that we are going to make changes in the structure of the Legislative Council. We are going to give more freedom to Indians. That is what they told. But when these reforms were to take place, two controversial bills were introduced in the Imperial Legislative Council, you can say in the Indian Parliament, which was imperial. Imperial means totally controlled by British. The government decided to arm itself with an extraordinary power to suppress any discordant voice against the reforms. So since the government knew that in few months we are going to announce these reforms, the government also knew that as soon as we would be announcing these reforms, people would come out on streets, people would start agitating. So the government had idea that very soon people will start agitating. So to suppress that large scale agitation, the government beforehand brought some laws. So these laws gave enormous power to the police. So that was the purpose of bringing these special laws. So two bills were introduced by the government. So one of them was dropped, but the other was passed in March of 1919. So this is how the trouble started. So the controversial bill was officially called as the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. That means revolution was a crime, anarchy, creating unrest in the country or doing revolution. Revolution means trying to overthrow the government. So all these were obviously deemed as crime. So this act was officially known as Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. When was this introduced? In 1919. But it was popularly known as Rowlatt Act. Why was it popularly known as Rowlatt Act? Because it was based on the recommendations made by the British judge whose name was Rowlatt. So his full name was Sir Sidney Rowlatt. So after his name, this act was commonly known as Rowlatt Act. Official name, Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. So why were the Indian citizens against this act, Rowlatt Act? So the purpose of this Rowlatt Act from the British point of view was to investigate the seditious conspiracy of Indian people. Because the British government always, they have been saying that, in certain parts of India, like in Punjab, in Bengal, in Mumbai, militant activities were growing, throwing of bombs, attacking and killing British officials. So all these were gaining momentum. So the British were terming all this as sedition, anti-national activities of Indian people. So all the elected members of the Imperial Legislative Council voted against the bill. So in the Imperial Legislative Council, which was in effect the Indian Parliament of that time, those members who were Indian elected members. So there is a parliament. This parliament was heavily dominated by Britishers. Britishers, though this is Indian parliament, but there are some Indian members as well. So all these Indian members, they voted against this Rowlatt Act. But since they were in minority, because the majority of the legislatures were nominated members, nominated by the viceroy, so they were basically British people. Indians were in minority. So even these Indian politicians, they could not stop the passage of Rowlatt Act. So who were these politicians? These politicians who were sitting inside this parliament, who were these? So Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Madan Mohan Malviya and Mazharul Haq, they resigned from this parliament. What was this parliament known as? Imperial Legislative Council. So they resigned. Now the Rowlatt Act is passed. Indians failed, or you can say Indian politicians were not in majority, so they could not stop this. Now what happened? What was Rowlatt Act? Why were Indians trying to stop this? What was so bad? The act was passed on the recommendations of the Sedition Committee. Sedition means doing something which is anti-national. So this committee was headed by Sir Sidney Rowlatt. Actually, the British government have asked Sir Sidney Rowlatt to submit a report on how to curb revolutionary activities. Revolutionary activity, because certain revolutionary organizations had already formed by then. Anusilan Samiti, Bhagat Singh had not appeared on the political scene till now, but organizations had already cropped up. So they asked this retired judge. He was a judge who used to live in India only. So he was a judge. He had a good understanding of India. So British government asked him to submit a report that what kind of laws do we need so that we can suppress whosoever we want. So this judge submitted its report, and based on that report, this Rowlatt Act was made. What was so bad about the act? The objective of the government was to replace the repressive provisions of the Wartime Defense of India Act by permanent law. So few months ago, World War II, World War I has stopped. So when World War I was going on, some laws were already available for the British police. Using those laws, they can arrest anyone. But now World War was over. So now normal laws are only available to police. So normally police cannot do what you can call atyachar, suppression. So now they need special law. So this is what this Rowlatt Act is meant for. It was meant to replace the Defense of India Act. So when World War I was going on, Defense of India Act was used by police to do lathi charge, to arrest and do all kind of suppressive activities. Now World War is over, so they need another law, which is Rowlatt Act. So Rowlatt Act gave the government enormous power to repress political activities and allowed detention of political prisoner without trial for 2 years. See, today if somebody is arrested by police, then he is taken to a judge, because judge wants to know that why he is arrested. Why have you arrested him? But Rowlatt Act said, arrest whosoever you like, arrest him till 2 years. Till 2 years, you are not required to take him to any court. That means you can keep anybody in jail for 2 years without even taking him to court. Nobody will come to help him. So just understand what kind of draconian law this was. This could have been misused by the British police to their advantage. So these were the problem. So it allowed political activities to be tried without juries or even imprisoned without trial. So you don't get to meet judge for 2 years. That means no case, whatever we want, we will do. It also allowed arrest of Indians without warrant. Earlier, to arrest somebody, you have to approach court. You simply cannot, even today, you simply cannot go to somebody's house and arrest him. You have to take a warrant. Who issues that warrant? Magistrates issue that warrant. So you have to inform the legal authorities that we are going to arrest somebody, and this is the reason, that's why we are going to arrest him. But as per Rowlatt Act, police did not have to take all this permission. They can arrest whosoever they like. They can keep that person in jail for 2 years without ever taking him to court. Also, possession of seditious newspapers would result in arrest and deportation. That means even if you are carrying a newspaper which is banned by the government, you would be arrested and deported. Deported means sent to a jail which is outside main country of India, either to Kala Pani or to Burma or to Lahore, some other place which is away from Indian mainland. That was known as deportation. So Gandhi ji had already become a mass leader by now. He had successfully conducted a few satyagrahas in Champaran, in Kheda, and Ahmedabad mill strike. We have covered already all this. So he was already a mass leader. That means Congress always used to rely on Gandhi for his advice and leadership. So what was the response of Mahatma Gandhi? So Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against these kind of unjust laws. It was an unfair law, no doubt. So Gandhiji said that we will protest, but we will protest non-violently, peacefully. That is what Mahatma Gandhi was respected for, no use of violence. So he said that let's start this by doing a hartal on 6th of April 1919. In March, Rowlatt Act is announced. From April onwards, India reacts. Indian people start reacting. So first call of hartal was given by Mahatma Gandhi. Entire country was to observe the hartal on 6th of April 1919. But before it could be launched, there was large-scale violent anti-British demonstrations in Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi, Ahmedabad. So Gandhiji wanted to keep it non-violent, but before he could take the leadership, before he could take the charge, so before that, large-scale violence started. Why? Because they were opposing Rowlatt Act. They could not tolerate. And also, see, Rowlatt Act was brought because at that time many revolutionary groups were active. So these groups were active at exactly these locations: Calcutta, Bombay, Lahore, Punjab. So at these places, these groups started violent protest. They were not followers of Mahatma Gandhi. They were revolutionary people. They believed in using force against the unfair British law. So especially in Punjab, this situation became explosive due to wartime repression, because Punjab had faced situation in World War I also. So for a large time, the people of Punjab, they were used to getting oppressed. They were beaten by police, lathi charge and all sort of stuff. And now these kind of law. So people of Punjab could not tolerate anymore. Also, the people of Punjab were subjected to forcible recruitment. What is forcible recruitment? So these people of Punjab and Haryana, they were considered to be physically more strong as compared to the other Indian people, and they were forced to join army and police. So people of Punjab and Haryana, they did not want to join British police and British army, because if they join British police, they have to go against their own countrymen, but they were forced. And also several kind of diseases and epidemics were taking place in Punjab. So situation of Punjab was very politically tense. In towns across North and West India, life came to a standstill. Why? Because of these large-scale violent protests, as shops shut down and schools closed in response to the Bandh call. Also, Mahatma Gandhi had also given a Bandh. So you can see that just after the passage of Rowlatt Act, a big problem had been created for the British government. British government was facing a huge problem. So during the intense anti-British demonstration, Punjab also witnessed the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So because of these tension, the British took a wrong decision and Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened. So what was this Jallianwala Bagh massacre? Let us see. See, as we already saw that situation in Punjab was very tense. People were doing large scale violent protests. So the British military was actually in charge of large towns of Punjab. So British military was governing Amritsar. So there was presence of large scale British military, and these British military people had gathered military intelligence that what happened in 1857 was about to happen again in Punjab. That means they were sure that people of Punjab and Lahore, they are going to revolt full scale. So military was already there. World War I has just now ended. So on 9th of April 1919, two nationalist leaders, Saifuddin Kichlew and Dr. Satyapal, were arrested by the British officials. So Gandhiji had given a call of Bandh on 6th April. So these leaders were followers of Mahatma Gandhi. So because they have participated in the Bandh, they have been arrested 3 days later by British government. You have to remember these two names, Saifuddin Kichlew and Dr. Satyapal. Both were from Punjab. Both were Punjabis. So they were arrested by the British official without any provocation, because they were followers of Mahatma Gandhi. They were non-violent people. Still they were arrested. Why? Because they have given speech on 6th of April, because Gandhiji have asked Congress to do a hartal. And they were taken to some unknown destination. So what actually happened, that British people arrested them. Rumors spread that they have been killed. People of Amritsar thought that these two leaders have been killed, encountered by British police. And British police also did not inform that whether they are alive or not. They were alive, they were kept in prison, but British government did not inform their family members. So this caused resentment amongst the Indian protesters, who came out in thousands on April 10 to show their solidarity with the leaders. So they were arrested on 9th. The next day, Punjabis, people of Punjab, they came out on street that please release our leaders. They are non-violent. They are followers of Gandhi. Why have you arrested them? So soon the protest turned violent because the police resorted to firing, in which some of the protesters were killed. So these large crowd, though their intention was to keep the protest peacefully, but soon British police started firing on this crowd, and the crowd turned violent. And the crowd turned violent, in which some of the protesters were killed. To curb any future protest, government put martial law. Martial law means all the normal laws are cancelled. The area is taken under control by military. That means military can do whatever they want. They can fire as many rounds they want. Military law. That means military will decide what is to be done. So military law was put in place, and order in Punjab was handed over to Brigadier General Dyer. As I already told you that army was present in Amritsar. So the unit of army in Amritsar was led by General Dyer. So major protests were taking place in Amritsar. Jallianwala Bagh is located in Amritsar only. So General Dyer was said that you get a free hand, you can do whatever you want. So on 13th of April, which was a Baisakhi Day. Baisakhi Day is a very well celebrated festival of the Punjabis as well as rest of India. So it was a day of festival. A large crowd of people, mostly from the neighboring villages, unaware of the prohibitory orders in Amritsar, gathered in Jallianwala Bagh. So already martial law was applied in Amritsar, but the common people, the villagers, they were not aware. They were not that much educated. They didn't understand what is martial law, what is the politics of the country. They had simply come to celebrate Baisakhi. They were not politicians, they were not violent agitators, but they were simply there for some other purpose. It was a Baisakhi day. And so a large crowd had gathered. General Dyer, Brigadier General Dyer, who was given the charge of Amritsar, and please remember martial law was in place, so he was in charge. So he soon arrived on the scene with his men. The troops surrounded the gathering under orders from General Dyer and blocked the only exit point. So there was only a single exit point. So this is Jallianwala Bagh. This was the single exit or entry gate. General Dyer stood here and all his 90 soldiers went inside and they started firing. So killing more than 1,000 unarmed men, women and children. So this is unofficial figure, but this is more closer to reality. 1,000, almost 1,000 men, women and children were killed. So this was a big tragedy. So the British government was embarrassed. It became very angry that how can General Dyer do such a thing? How can they kill innocent people? So British government was also very much angry, but they did not accept their mistake. They said that General Dyer did whatever was necessary at that time. So they formed a commission which was known as Hunter Commission. So now what is this Hunter Commission? So this Hunter Commission was formed to investigate the circumstances under which the firing took place in Jallianwala Bagh. Or in other words, you can say this was an inquiry to look into the actions of General Dyer. Because everybody was calling General Dyer a monster, a mass murderer. So committee was formed to placate, to keep the Indians under control, that don't worry, we will punish General Dyer. Let us first find out the truth. So a committee was formed that was known as Hunter Commission. You have to remember this. But nothing happened. On October 14, 1999, the government of India announced the formation of Disorders Inquiry Committee. That means another committee was announced. This committee was announced, which is popularly known as Hunter Commission, because the chairman is Lord William Hunter. So this was named Disorders Inquiry Committee. So the British told that we will inquire why did the disorder start in Punjab. That means generally General Dyer was not totally responsible. They said that why was there disorder because of which General Dyer had to open fire. So it was not an inquiry about General Dyer, but an inquiry about the circumstances which forced General Dyer to fire. This was the British understanding. And obviously, it had no Indian members. In the final report submitted in March 1920, the committee unanimously condemned General Dyer. So committee condemned him, but General Dyer, however, the Hunter Committee did not impose any penal or disciplinary action against General Dyer. Why? Because martial law was in place. Martial law gives immunity to a soldier from legal prosecution. So whatever he did at that time, martial law was in place. So British government told that we cannot punish General Dyer because whatever he did it in the capacity of his official capacity of as a brigadier general. So you cannot punish him. Whatever he did, it was part of his duty. So the entire country was boiling with anger that General Dyer killed so many people. Still nothing has happened to General Dyer. So how did the Indians react? Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood in protest. What is knighthood? Knighthood means the Britishers used to give the title of Sir, making you equivalent to the nobleman of England. So Rabindranath Tagore returned back his title. Gandhi was overwhelmed by the atmosphere of total violence because so many people were getting killed. So he withdrew the movement on April 18, 5 days after the shooting of Jallianwala Bagh. Which movement did he withdraw? Rowlatt Satyagraha. So it was an unsuccessful Satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi. He was not successful. Why? Because Rowlatt Act was still in place. Government did not take back Rowlatt Act. So now a disappointed Indian National Congress, because government did nothing against General Dyer. So Indian National Congress appointed their own inquiry commission. So in that inquiry commission, Motilal Nehru, that means father of Jawaharlal Nehru, C.R. Das and Mahatma Gandhi were the members of that committee. So this committee went to Jallianwala Bagh, found out the real truth, and they told that more than 1,000 people have been killed, 1,000 plus people have been killed, whereas the British government was telling Indians that only 239 people have been killed. But in reality, more than 1,000 people were killed. They were hiding the truth. So this Indian committee, comprising of Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das and Mahatma Gandhi, they went to Jallianwala Bagh to find the real truth. Michael O. Dower, this is not General Dyer, but it is Dower. He was basically, you can say, the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab at that time. So there is Punjab, there is Amritsar. So in charge of Punjab was Michael O. Dower, whereas in charge of Amritsar was General Dyer. So don't confuse Dyer, Dower. So whatever General Dyer had done, he had taken permission from Michael O. Dower. So it is said that Michael O. Dower, the then Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, so Michael O. Dower was equally responsible for this massacre. So he was equally responsible. So finally, to take revenge of the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, the great Udham Singh, Shahid Udham Singh. So Shahid, a great revolutionary, Udham Singh, who was the member of Gadar Party, he went to London, and this guy, Michael O. Dower, was giving a speech. So he shot him and killed him. So Michael O. Dower was assassinated by Udham Singh and not General Dyer. General Dyer was not assassinated. Fine. So General Dyer was simply removed from his position. He was thrown out by British government. He was not given any job. He was given, even his pension was obstructed, but he was not punished. So this is how the saga of Jallianwala tragedy ended. Finally, Udham Singh took some kind of revenge.